So like there are times when even a stock will give me like a 6-7% move in a day, and I'm no longer using low of day as my stop. I'm using my average as my stop. If I'm going to get a 6% push from my average in a day or two, the trade will no longer go red on me. So it's kind of tough to just say, oh, you were wrong on that trade. No, I just closed it for flat, and yeah, maybe it didn't end up breaking the low of my day, but as I've heard Dan Zanger once say, the best horses don't return to the starting gate. So that's kind of always my thinking. And, maybe I am a little too gun shy at taking any kind of big red, but if a stock is going to work for me, it's going to work right away. And those are, I'm sure you've heard people say this as well. Your best trades tend to work right away. And that's how I like them to work. Like ARC recently, it's like you get that really nice flat pivot, you get the breakout over the pivot, $59, and then all of a sudden, you kind of look around and all of Kathy's stocks are flying, and ARC is really pushing away from your average. Well, if this is the real move, there should be no back test of that 59. There should just be continuation right from there. So, yeah, 30%, in a really good environment, a little bit better.
Yep.
Like it's rare that I'm going to nail, 60% of my trades. I mean, that would have to be a absolutely perfect environment. So
yeah. And what about the average loss and average gain, if you know those numbers, or even duration too? Obviously, probably your losses, maybe you're stopped out the same day often or the next day. But yeah, do you have a sense of those metrics too? Your average win, your average loss, and the holding periods for winners and losers.
Yeah, so I just looked at it recently. My average duration recently has been about 8 days for my winner and less than 24 hours for my loser. And that is even because sometimes I'll be in a stock and it'll be green, and I'll still kind of keep that low of day, and it'll come tag it 1 or 2 days later. Right. And then sometimes and then even recently it's like I'll have been in a stock like Baba when it was kind of coming out of the $120 flag, and you're in it for only 2-3 days as it rejects kind of the 50 simple moving average. And then if it's going to reject and it can't get through, right, I don't really want to just sit there and hope and pray that the stock can kind of break through the 50. But yeah, recently it's been 8 days on the long side, and and again, that's coming on with like a stock that I would have to refresh, but I just finally closed out my Netflix today, and I bought that thing, I want to say April 22nd.
Yep.
So some will just allow you to be in them a whole lot longer,
yep.
Which is nice. But Netflix was kind of one of those where starting to act a little bit weak. It got a bit extended from the 50 simple, and I wanted to take it off a few days ago on Friday, and I didn't. I was like, it's a bit extended for Netflix. Like, this thing has never really gone up like this. And then, it's like the market's still kind of tracking higher, but Netflix is tracking lower. I said, I don't really want to know what Netflix is going to do if the market starts to pull in a bit more. So I let it go today, and then of course it bounces into the end of the day.
That's how it goes, man. Yeah, let's bring up a chart actually of Netflix. I think that's a good place to start. And then I have one more question about risk once you bring that up, but no rush at all.